the undefeated force of nature, number 13 in the world, Khamzat Chimaev. And his opponent.
Bro, Whittaker versus Khamzat.
And his opponent, the former undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Robert the Reaper Whittaker.
I mean, solid, beefy 185, former champion. You know, both guys started at 170, but they were cut. It was too long to make the 170.
Ronda, McGregor, Chimaev, and frankly, I'm not positive where Chimaev fits in that. I mean, there was periods of time, guys. Oh my golly, he was hot. He was so hot. This idea that happened on accident about this guy that'll fight at different weight classes, and he'll fight on super short notice, and he'll fight with anybody. Like, Cowboy Cerrone been doing that for a while, but there was something about Chimaev changing the weights and booking and going in there instantly, and it was on accident. He was out in Abu Dhabi. You guys know about this, right? He's out in Abu Dhabi as a fighter, 185 pounds. It's his debut. He's 24 years old. Stops the guy in the first round. UFC, it's COVID. They're going to stick around, get some more bang for their buck. Sweetheart, they're here. They're going to do a show the very next week. Well, somebody falls through at 170. See, that's the interesting part of the story. Chimaev, who wins, makes his debut. He's happy as can be. He's got some money in his pocket. He's on Fight Island, drinking out of coconuts and eating fresh pineapple and steaks and all these wonderful things. He's got to pull down to 170 pounds, and he's only got 6 days to do it. By the time he finds out about the fight, he's actually only got 4 days to do it. It is the most interesting part of the story, and nobody really made a big deal about it. The most interesting part was not that it was two guys in two different weight classes and 2 stoppages in the first round. The most interesting part is that he went down, not up. Fine. When we go from that perspective, it was on accident. This wasn't on purpose. However, they did begin to book him that way, and it was red hot. And it was as though the marketing team maybe didn't notice, or maybe nobody did. I mean, maybe nobody was realizing over there at the UFC how important this was. Like, we got to get this guy booked. We got to get him booked, and we got to get him in there. Jared Burchard, total stud. Bring him on, back at 185 pounds. But it was important. The quick was important. Run him up the ranks. Start conversations.
Fight fans, welcome back to Luxury Tainment. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the clash between the unstoppable force, Khamzat Chimaev, and the formidable Robert the Reaper Whittaker. The UFC announced that their first main event to take place in Saudi Arabia will be a middleweights fight between Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. This fight will mark Khamzat Chimaev's first main event and the promotion's first event in Saudi Arabia. Chimaev last fought against former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman at UFC 294, defeating him over a 3-round decision. Khamzat Chimaev's corner should be concerned, as the undefeated fighter has shown cardio issues several times over his last few fights. This is the first 5-round fight Chimaev's been in, which automatically, if you're in the corner of Chimaev, you've got to be concerned. One thing Robert Whittaker is not going to do is run out of gas. He's very experienced in fighting at the highest level for a long time. The obvious thing is Khamzat always gasses. The 2 occasions in which Chimaev's gas tank has come into question were against Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. For his UFC 273 fight against Burns, all 3 judges scored the second round for the Brazilian, with Khamzat rallying back in round 3. After scoring a 10-8 round against the Nigerian Nightmare in round 1 of their fight in October, he then went on to lose round 2 on 2 judges' scorecards, with one of them also scoring round 3 for Usman, resulting in the majority decision. If Khamzat cannot score an early finish, it could end up being disastrous for him. The undefeated Khamzat Chimaev 13 wins with 0 losses, last fought at UFC 294 in October last year, and since then he's been looking for a return. Unfortunately, activity is something that has eluded Boers, with the 29-year-old having only fought 3 times in the past 2 years. His UFC 294 fight with Kamaru Usman surfaced late notice, as his original opponent, Paulo Costa, was removed from the scheduled fight with Boers because of a bad cut. Chimaev picked up the win in what was an extremely close fight. It was rumored that Chimaev was going to be offered a UFC 300 fight with welterweight champion Leon Edwards, but he shut the rumors down shortly after, stating he wouldn't fight near Ramadan. Robert Whittaker, with 25 wins, 7 losses on the other hand, fought back in February at UFC 298, where he impressively returned to the win, dominating Paulo Costa. After his win, the former middleweight champion stated that he was hoping to get on the rumored event that was going to take place in Australia. The UFC went on to announce that UFC 305 will take place in Perth on August the 17th. Robert Whittaker told Luxurytainment, "Khamzat is a tremendous force of nature. The way he takes people down and dominates them right from the opening bell. He did the same thing against Kamaru Usman. Granted, didn't get the finish, but he did slow down. Against Gilbert Burns, the same thing. He had a great round 1, and then 2 and 3 were kind of close."
George St. Pierre weighed in on Whittaker versus Chimaev. St. Pierre went as far as to say that Whittaker, with his skills, can make Chimaev look bad. And what an interesting statement. George didn't need to go that far. George trained at TriStar, Whittaker trained at TriStar. So they were teammates and friends and acquaintances. George could have picked Whittaker. Could have just tipped the hat to him and walk off. It's not George's job to be impartial anyway. Like, George isn't behind a desk. He's not an announcer. Where he's got to be honest. He's got to really be truthful. Speak from his expertise, not from his heart. He didn't have to do any of those things. He can just say, I like Whittaker in the fight. But he didn't. He went further. And then he actually broke down why. And it's very much the opposite of what we learned.
Who would you like to see next when you step into the octagon? Everybody! I come in for everybody! Kill everybody! Someone now! Say something! Someone now! I'm all you boys! This is Chechen!
5 rounds against somebody like Robert Whittaker. If he can't finish him early, that could be a disastrous night for him in Saudi Arabia. Despite it being Chimaev's first UFC main event, it comes with a big stakes attached to it. When he announced the fight, Dana White explained how it could be a #1 contender fight, with the winner fighting for the 185-pound title next. Dricus du Plessis currently sits on the middleweight throne, with his next fight being rumored to be against Israel Adesanya at UFC 305 in Perth, Australia. Robert Whittaker, of course, has history with both of those names, losing his title to Adesanya back in 2019 and then losing to him again when he challenged for the title 3 years later. A loss to Dricus du Plessis at UFC 290 saw him miss out on another title fight against the last stylebender. Khamzat Chimaev, on the other hand, has previously been linked to Israel Adesanya, as it seemed he would make his official move to middleweight against a former middleweight champion, but the fight never came to fruition. Now let's look at the advantages and disadvantages for each fighter. Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. Momentum. Chimaev's recent winning streak provides him with momentum and confidence as he enters the fight. Versatility. Chimaev possesses a well-rounded skill set, giving him multiple paths to victory through striking and grappling. Youth and physicality. His youth and strength may give him an edge, allowing him to dictate the pace of the fight. Psychological edge. Chimaev's aggressive style and mental toughness could create psychological pressure on Whittaker, impacting his performance. Now, disadvantages for Khamzat Chimaev. Experience. Chimaev's lack of experience against top-tier opponents may be a disadvantage, especially in high-pressure situations. Potential overconfidence. Recent success might lead to overconfidence, causing strategic errors. Endurance issues. Chimaev has shown signs of fatigue in later rounds, which could be exploited by Whittaker's endurance. Now let's look at the advantage for Robert Whittaker. Experience. Whittaker's extensive experience against elite fighters gives him a strategic advantage. Striking skills. His exceptional striking skills pose a significant threat to Chimaev. Championship experience. Having been a former champion, Whittaker is accustomed to high-stakes fights. Endurance. Whittaker's victory over Paulo Costa showcased his superior endurance, which could be a crucial factor in a longer fight. Now let's look at the disadvantages for Robert Whittaker. Wrestling defense. Weakness in wrestling defense could be exploited by Chimaev's grappling skills. Youth and physicality of Chimaev. Whittaker may struggle to match Chimaev's youthful energy and physicality over the fight's duration. So guys, who do you have winning between Khamzat "Boz" Chimaev versus Robert "The Reaper" Whittaker? Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on this fight, as I think Khamzat takes him out in the second round. However, if he doesn't, then there's a high chance the Reaper wins in the later rounds. See you guys soon, and have a lovely day.
Dominate the guy first round. Now after first round, last minute.
Split decision.
So what now?
New level in the octagon, and that's exactly what he did.
What would you like to see next when you step into the octagon? Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the most dangerous guy here. I can come here for everyone. I kill everybody. Allah Akbar.
This guy really tough. If you want to stop him, you have to choke him or knock him out. This guy is gonna fight 5 rounds.
He had surgery after his last fight. Just how compromised going to be, either from injury